All right, let's talk about how to crush your goals in 2026. It's January 1st, and you guys are a little bit behind. I usually do this in December, but I wanted to share this because I found it's really useful and it's really simple to implement. I find a lot of times when you look at goal setting stuff, it's too complicated. It's like you got to come up with your why and big, hairy, audacious goals and all this other stuff. I find the simpler it is, the easier it is to just be consistent, especially with goals that actually take a little bit of time. If you want to lose 10 pounds, you're looking at anywhere from, 45 to 90 days, depending on how fast you are and how committed you are. So what I've found works the best is I usually do this in December. If you guys haven't done this yet, now is a great time to do it. Write down literally everything you want. And I mean write it down on pen and paper, not on a note on your phone or something else. Like get your physical body involved in writing stuff out. You remember more of your goals. You'll also um, think better in terms of like thinking through what is it actually going to take to achieve this. And the way that I do this is I literally write down everything I want out of my whole life. So, what are some things that I want that I know I'm not going to get this year, but I can still make progress towards it this year? So that's, what kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of car do you want to drive? How much money do you want to have saved for retirement? How much do you want to contribute to charity? How many kids do you want to have? What kinds of vacations do you want to go on? Do you want to retire your parents? How much is that going to cost? So like go through literally everything. My fiance is a obviously woman. She loves purses and cute stuff like that. So she writes down, the bags and the things like that, right? So write down everything that you want and then you're going to put one of these numbers next to it. You're going to put either a 1, a 3, a 5, or a 10. So that means that's either a 1 year goal, a 3 year goal, a 5 year goal, or a 10 year goal. If you have something crazy, massive on your list, like owning $100 million yacht, you might have to throw a 20 on that. And be realistic. I know a lot of goal training stuff is like, oh, anything is possible. Stupid. Stupid, man. Do you know how many billionaires there are under the age of 30? There's hardly any. There's like two. And one of them, their parents were already 100 millionaires before they became billionaires. So think realistically. Just so you guys know, you can Google this. The average millionaire is 62 years old. The average billionaire is 65 years old. So it's gonna take time to do some of this stuff, but that doesn't mean you can't make progress now. So for your goals that are 1 year goals, some of those should be targets around your health. How much do you want to weigh and at what body fat percentage? Some of those should be around your finances. How much money do you want to be making per month? And some of them should be around your relationships. Are you planning to get married? Um, are you trying to find somebody that maybe eventually you could get married to? Are you planning to have kids? Um, it could be, you're planning to retire your parents, planning to do something cool with friends, go on some kind of trip. And then fulfillment. And fulfillment is a tricky one because fulfillment is both a verb and a noun. Something being fulfilled is already been taken care of, and the feeling of fulfillment is basically like a noun, right? So a good way of thinking about fulfillment are what are the things that you want to do that will make you feel like your life mattered. Is there a church that you want to, be a part of, that you want to be able to contribute to and see it grow? Is there, orphanages that you want to build, or schools that you want to build, or libraries, or, what are some things that you could really get excited about and feel like, even if I get all my goals, but I don't do this, I'd feel like my life was a loss. That's a good idea of what are fulfilling things to do. And when I say write it all down, I mean literally write everything down. The cars, the little things, the furniture, the keys, the kids, the everything, right? Just write it all down. Now, once you have your list and everything has a number next to it, what you want to do is on another piece of paper, write down all of your 1 year goals And then you need to put together a plan to hit those. And a good way of thinking about this, we'll just go for four things, right? So we'll go for a money goal. Let's say you want to make an extra 20 grand a month. You have to think through, okay, if I have a business that supports me doing that, how am I going to do 20,000 a month? Well, I could get 5 customers at 4,000 a month, 4 customers at 5,000 a month, 2 customers at 10,000 a month, 20 customers at 1,000 a month. You start to work through how you're going to do that and then start thinking through the numbers. Okay, well, in order to sell one person, I need to talk to 10. So in order to sell 10, I need to talk to 100. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever the goal is, right? So make a plan and then look at it and say, okay, in order to do that, I need to talk to this many people per day for this many days, and within that time frame, I will be able to accomplish this goal. With your health, going back to losing 10 pounds of body fat, right? If that's your goal, you got to think through, okay, on average, I'm going to be able to lose between a half a pound and a pound per week consistently without putting myself on some kind of nightmare diet that isn't going to be sustainable. So that puts me at about 10 to 14 or 15 weeks or so. In order to do that, I'm going to have this meal plan, and I'm going to have some kind of cheat meal so I don't lose my mind along the way. So here's how I'm going to have my cheat meals and when I'm going to do them. Plan is done. Same thing with your relationships and same thing with your fulfillment. And the cool thing is, some of you guys are going to have goals that are 20-year goals that you can make contributions to this year. I have a goal that one of the organizations that our business donates to, that eventually we help them build an entirely new hospital. That is a 20-year goal. Building a hospital is not cheap. And this company specifically, they don't have a billing department in their hospital. They do everything for free for kids who have some of the worst, cancers and stuff in the world. So in order to do that, that's like a 20-year goal. But every single month I can still donate $50, $100, $200, $500, whatever. So I can still start building towards that goal in the short term. Um, Now here's a key point for this. You're gonna look at your list and some things are gonna be way more important than others, but some things are going to actually give you all of the others. Like if you've got a bunch of stuff you want, right? Like one of the things I want in my house is I want to have a really nice like red light bed. These are like $60,000 or something, right? They're expensive. If I hit my financial goals, because my financial goals are based off of how much money I need to be able to live exactly the way that I want to live, I'll get that goal as a result of it. So some of your goals have more leverage than others. And this is why a lot of people get screwed up. What happens is they're like, oh man, I got so much stuff I'm trying to accomplish. But the reality is, if you just hit 3 or 4 of your main goals, 90% of what you want to accomplish in your life is taken care of. So you want to look at your list thinking through, where do I get the most leverage here? For a lot of you guys, the main thing is going to be, if I can make more money, I can hit a lot of these goals. When it comes to getting married and having kids, that's going to cost more money. You got to have the kids, which costs like $20,000 in a hospital. You got to have the health insurance so they can go to the doctors and your wife is taken care of. So, like, if you hit your financial goal and you did the right thing with your relationship goal with regards to marrying the right kind of person, all of that's taken care of. So you maxed out already. So a good way of thinking about this is, in each area of your life, in your fitness, in your finances, in your, relationships, your family and friends, your fulfillment, looking at those things and then saying to yourself, which one of these give me the most leverage to focus on specifically in 2026? Okay? Now, the big thing to remember here is some of your goals that you're going to set aren't actually what you should pay attention to. So, as an example, losing 10 pounds of body fat is a good goal, but it might not actually be the most important thing to pay attention to. It might be better for you to pay attention to setting a goal around building the habit of having a lot of energy. if you primarily focus on how do I keep my gut and my brain healthy so that my energy levels are high, as a result of having more energy, it'll be easier to accomplish the goal of losing 10 pounds of body fat, which means not only will I accomplish the goal of losing the body fat, but I'll also have extra energy to do all the other things as well. So, this is why, by the way, a lot of times people fail on their goals. It's because they're focused on too many of the symptoms and not enough of the causes of those symptoms. So people are like, oh, I want to have a happy family. Like, man, I've got this terrible wife and all this stuff. It's like, okay, but you didn't focus on what do I need to do to find the right kind of person? Who do I need to be to attract that kind of person into my life? If your kids are really disobedient, they're reckless, wild animals, right? It's like, what kind of parent do I need to be? What are the habits I need to build that then leads my kids to be more obedient, to be less, crazy? Now, kids are kind of crazy, so like you're going to have to deal with some of that, but, not so crazy. So make sure that when you look at your goals, you think through, is this a symptom or is this a cause? And if it's a cause, you can then say, okay, now I know what to focus on, and I'll get all these other goals as a result of that. One of my goals this year is to get into contest shape to be able to win a pro qualifier for bodybuilding. And in order to do that, I've got to drop about 10 pounds of body fat and I've got to build about 7 pounds of lean muscle over the course of the next 12 months, which is totally doable for me. With that being said, I don't need to just lose the body fat or just build the muscle. I also run a business. I have a YouTube channel. I have other stuff that I need to do. So, one of the most important underlying causes is getting all of the systems of my body to function at the highest capacity possible so that I have the energy to lose the body fat, build the new muscle, and still run the rest of my life well. And so, make sure that when you're looking at your financial goal, if you're like, I don't make enough money, don't say, well, I don't make enough money. Say, what skills am I lacking to be worth more money? You might run a business and you're like, man, we're only doing 20 grand a month, but I'm only netting four of that. You might have to look at the business and say, hey, look, what skill do I need to develop that my business is worth making 50,000 a month, 100,000 a month, a million a month, whatever. And you start to look at it like, okay, I'm not that great at sales. I need to improve how good I am at sales. I'm not that good at marketing. I need to improve. I'm not that good at advertising. And depending on where you're at in life, sometimes it doesn't necessarily need to be you, right? If you own a business, you're doing $1 million a month and it's not worth $100 million yet, right? You can afford, because you have leverage through the means of capital, to bring somebody in that can fill that gap. But for most of your goals, you're still going to have to fill some part of that gap. If you're not that great at marketing and you have to bring a marketer in, you're going to have to be a better leader. You're going to have to understand marketing well enough that the marketing manager respects you, looks at you as a leader, and then does their job to the best of their capabilities as well. So just make sure that when you go through this, you understand where your real leverage is, what goal gives you the most leverage to accomplish all of the other goals in that category, and then also think through how important those things are to you. I'm not a very materialistic person. If you guys look at my life the last 3 years, I've lived out of two suitcases, one full size and one carry on, with a backpack. I've loved my life. I'm not super materialistic. I love travel more than I love things. Things are kind of annoying to me. It's just like, if it's not a 10 out of 10, it's not interesting at all. So for me, when I write out all of the stuff that I want and all of my material things that are on there, a lot of my why for those is because it supports the things that are important. So, if for you, as an example, one of your goals is to become a respected leader in your industry, you kind of have to think through, well, what does that mean? What would a respected leader actually look like? Well, they'd have a big company. They'd have, they'd be somebody that was getting invited to speak on stages. They'd be this, right? So then you have to go through and say, okay, all of this stuff that I have on my list, what of these things actually supports me doing this? That's where you get a bunch of leverage because it puts you in the position to become that kind of person that gets those kinds of things. And so make sure you're looking for leverage. Make sure you're being realistic. And then the final piece of this is break it down into simple quarterly stuff. Most of us are adults enough and intelligent enough to track things for 90 days. I find even if I just commit for 30 days, I can do it for 90. Because once you do it for a month, if it's working, you're like, well, why wouldn't I keep doing it? I'm already winning. But set quarterly benchmarks that you, and the way I do this, I literally just say to my phone, I'll show you guys. So, hey Siri, set a reminder for 3 months from now to check in on how I'm doing on my goals for the year.
Okay, I added it.
So it's that easy. Set reminders in your calendar. Set things to check that you're like, okay, my goal was in the first quarter to add an extra 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, whatever in monthly recurring revenue before the end of the first quarter. Where did I end up? And if you ended up at 40, that's still that's still a good win. You're not that far off. You're a couple clients away from 50 a month. If you get to the end of the third quarter or the end of the first quarter and you're at like an extra 10, you really are off. You don't have the right tools in place. You don't have the right systems in place. But make sure to set quarterly check-ins for yourself. If you're married or you're, in a serious relationship, a good way of doing this is do this goal setting session with your partner and work together, not just to accomplish those goals, but to hold each other accountable, to think through what are all the different ways we can put things together to make all of this happen. And what you guys will find is accomplishing a lot of your goals starts to just feel like the way things work. It's just what happens. You set the goals, you do the stuff, you get the goals. And so when you make this simple and this systematized and you're clear on where your actual leverage is, you don't have to do all this weird woo-woo stuff where you're like sitting and imagining how abundant and helpful the universe is to your goals and your mission. You don't have to do all this weird stuff. You just get up, you get a little bit of progress in every day, and next thing you know, you look up and you're like, man, I can't believe where I've ended up as a result of this. Um, you don't have to walk on fire. You don't have to join a cult. You don't have to talk well to yourself every day and pump yourself up like an idiot. You just set things up that it's simple. And when things are simple to do, just remember they're also simple not to do. So you'll have days, like you guys can probably hear in my nose, I'm congested. You'll have days where you don't feel good. That should be part of your plan. Hey, I might get sick, so maybe I should do a little bit extra every day. If you need to talk to 3 people per day to hit your sales goal in 90 days, right? You might just want to talk to 5. 5 is easy, it's not too many, it's not crazy, it's not quite double. But then when something unplanned happens, which something unplanned always happens, you're far enough ahead that it doesn't destroy your chances of accomplishing your goals. So, whatever your goal is, always plan to do a little bit more than you think it's going to take. And when I say a little bit more, I actually mean just a little bit more. If you need to talk to 3 people a day to hit your financial goal, just talk to 5 or 6. It's not that much more. You could do a couple extra calls, no big deal, right? If in order to drop that 10 pounds of fat, you got to walk an extra 1,000 steps, just have a reminder on your phone. Get up and walk around every couple of hours so you're not sitting at your desk all day long. It's not that hard. So when you make things simple, when you make it easy, when you set up systems, use your phone. Use the stuff you have to remind yourself on a regular basis. I've got 14 reminders every single day that go off. 3 of those are just to check my calendar. One of them is the last time I can drink any caffeine in the day without interrupting my sleep. Every day at 1:30 p.m., my phone says caffeinate because it's a reminder for me, hey, if I drink caffeine after this, it's going to screw up my sleep. I'm not going to sleep as deeply. So set things up to remind you. Use your phone. You could put up a board that just says certain things that keep your mind on it. I have a friend that uses post-it notes. Whatever his main goals are, he writes his top 4 goals on that post-it note and he just sticks it to the corner of his computer. So out of the corner of his eye, every single day and everything he's doing, he's being reminded of where it is he's going and why he's doing what he's doing. Make it easy And you guys will be shocked. You'll be like, dude, this has been the easiest year. 2026 was the easiest year for me to hit all of the goals I set. It was so crazy. It feels illegal how easy it is. So systematize it a little bit. Take the time to think through where your leverage points are. And if this has been helpful, throw a comment below. Make sure to subscribe. The cool thing about YouTube, it's free for you guys. You don't have to pay me to watch my YouTube videos, but it helps me a ton if this has helped you that you subscribe and comment down below. Also, share what's worked for you. Some of you guys who are watching this right now have accomplished some massive goals in your lives. Share those with other people so that they can benefit as well.